So horse standalone noir short, part 2. The small hours pass this way. Tommy talks, Jimmy sometimes laughs or cuts in. Tommy refills the tumblers, I brood. Mostly I brood about cutting Tommy's throat, but here and there, I get to thinking on Ralph. Tommy has a long history of bending cars when he drinks hard. He has pretty much laid off the drink today. This has given him a thirst that he seems enthusiastic to exploit. Once we enter the third hour of this, he has mercifully talked himself into a stupor. I hope his dreams are bad ones. This Ralph business, says Jimmy, like we're here to talk about golf. You serious? Well, I've got nothing against the guy. Except that he got to Lizzie first and sits on a pile higher than your house. This ain't just about Lizzie and the pal. Me and Ralph are competitors. In the sense that the junior high team competes with the Pittsburgh Steelers, maybe. Look, says Jimmy, Ralph's next move is into cables and wires, electronic stock, warehousing, wholesaling. That's what you do. You know, for a smart guy, Riley, you can sometimes come over dumber than a duck's dick. This, from a guy who likes Tommy. There are plenty of reasons to rub Ralph out. You don't need to know what they are. I like the guy. It's true, it's an occupational weakness, but I'm leaning toward Ralph at the moment and thinking about perhaps getting Jimmy to lay off. You met Ralph, what, 3, 4 times? How the hell do you like the guy? You don't know him. Here it is, the thing about Ralph. Ralph is some way and then some older than Lizzie. Straight up, you got to hate a guy who manages to be pounding a stunning woman 20 years younger than he is. He wears Ray-Ban shades all of the time. Second of all, you got to hate a guy who wears Ray-Ban shades all of the time. Ralph is funny, smart, and apart from the Lizzie thing, pretty down to earth for a guy who owns a fifth of Jersey. I'm thinking that if I got closer to Ralph, he'd know plenty of people who could pay me a lot more than Jimmy can for me to ice people. Making a move to Ralph will be like business expansion. I have no evidence for sure on the matter, but my gut tells me that guys like Ralph, they tend not to be scared of moving obstacles out of the way. How do you know that Ralph doesn't know? Doesn't know about what? Doesn't know double gum from a cocktail sausage. Jesus, Jimmy. Doesn't know you're banging Lizzie. He does know. At least, I think he knows. So, how do you know he hasn't ordered someone to stiffen you up? Has he talked to you? Jimmy seems tired. He drags an open palm down his face, stretching the thing out and moving it around a little. The face, not the hand. I look at him and wonder what is behind the question. Is this suspicion or is he just curious? What if he has? So he has. I didn't say that. Jimmy kicks this around a while. He drains the last of his bourbon, makes a face and a sound, like a grimace, lacking conviction. His expression is short-lived. His heart isn't in it. Perhaps Ralph talking to you or someone else might make the whole thing less complicated. In what way? Give me an out. My life's not going too good. He chugs the mostly melted ice around the bottom of his tumbler looking for magic tricks or more whiskey. Now, I know you've had too much to drink, I tell him, and go to bed and forget all about it. I tell him we'll come at this with a different approach in the morning. It's been morning for quite some time when sleep takes me for a walk through a forest where the trees know my name and cars have feelings. Sometimes I think I should quit mixing the pills and the booze. When I wake up, it's to the sound of dead horses. The words reach me all at once, dragging me by the heels from dreamland, but they only seep through one at a time, waiting quietly for the rest to arrive. When they're all lined up, and I can think about them, I realise that Jimmy's been telling me that double gun has been shot through the brain. Knowing that I felt double gun the dancing candy, I wonder if he got all mixed up. Shot himself in the brain. I arrive at the scene in the barn, detached and still buzzing on bourbon. The show is worse than anything I've had to sit through in one of those off-Broadway productions. Double gone, legs stiffer than a morning boner, lays there, eyes glazed, lips curled back, and horrible horse teeth, yellow with decay, and protruding in a queue like a lineup of ugly whores at the courthouse. Makes me feel edgy. The clean and obvious bullet holes through the front of his head and the exit mess on the stable wall exonerate me in my eyes. I wonder how it is that I ever got to the place where I see a horse murderer, stomach turning, and yet feel no such alarm at killing people. I'm not going to stop doing it or go and see a doctor. I just mull it over for a few moments. Jimmy's in poor shape and Tommy's incessant bullshit and isn't helping. Spotting a chance for sport, I go and hit Tommy firmly upside the chops and tell him to keep his stupid ass opinions private. He glares at me, but isn't able to think of anything to say. I'm so happy, I almost sneak back to my room and unload into toilet paper. The prick. Any ideas, Jimmy? I don't know. Maybe Ralph or someone, he knows. You think this is the way of warning you off Lizzie? Looks like it could be. What are you going to do? I let the question reach him and then find him. He gets to know it. Gets comfortable with it. Kill Ralph, he says. Not for the first time, I'm startled at how easily a man can give the order when he doesn't have to see the result. When I roll the Chrysler 300 to a dead stop outside Ralph's office, I'm still in four minds about how I should approach the job. We are on nodding acquaintance, and I believe that this will buy me time. I don't feel too good about putting any bullets into Ralph, but this is important to Jimmy. He says he'll double my normal fee and speculates that Lizzie will match those terms from her end. The refinery around me is a wide open space punctuated with huge barrel-like containers zigzagged with iron staircases and observation platforms. Chimney stacks spew thick grey to black smoke clouds across the skyline. There are a number of one-level buildings spread about the place, and here and there cars, delivery trucks and vans stand idle, heating up in the brutal mid-afternoon scorch. I check my revolver for ammo and follow the directions I've been given for gaining access to Ralph's inner sanctum. I picture him, feet on a blood-wan blonde wood desk, all smiles and shades, telling someone in his Texan drawl that oil is in his blood and trust him on the price. I feel bad for the guy, even if he did kill Jimmy's horse. I tap the door light with the knuckle of my abuse finger and wait. Yeah, it's him, dusty-throated, like hangover. I turn the handle and enter the sparse office. He isn't interested in creating an appearance of success. He's too busy to line his walls with examples of wealth. The bare panelling and basic carpet add to my mental impression as a man who looks more bullshit than he is. The shades are in place, and the fattest cigar I've ever seen smoulders in the ashtray, a nuclear sub lit at one end. Ralph's eyes hover for a second, and then a smile breaks. The smile says, I'm a good old boy, but you pull any shit and you may never walk again. I feel butterflies piling up in my gut and inviting their bigger friends in through my asshole door. I know you, don't I? Sure, I'm a business acquaintance of Jimmy Dodge. The smile leaves the party, and I'm left with the cold certainty that the Ray-Bans are hiding cruelty. What does that cocksucker want? He's got a situation with a horse. Wants me to see you about it. I got to tell you, I'm not in a position to care too much about the situation with his horse. You see, what's your name, son? Riley. Curtis Riley. I offer my hand and he allows it to taste the breeze awkwardly until I retract it. Ralph ain't so warm anymore. Well, you see, Curtis Riley, I got me a situation, as you put it, with my wife. Really? Don't play dumb, Curtis Riley. I don't like dumb. Your acquaintance has been screwing my wife, and my wife has been bankrolling his no-good racing turtle. That fucking thing couldn't win a track meet if NASA strapped a genuine space race rocket to its pecker. I haven't got anything, so I stayed dumb. Now, when I discovered just how much my petty cash was down last night, when I realised that my wife's shopping account was being used to pay for a horse that belongs to a man who looks me in the eye twice a month knowing that he's fucking my wife and spending my money, well, I was none too pleased. Ralph lifts a cigar from the ashtray and I half expect a taxiing fighter plane to leave its back and make a break for the clouds. The end glows orange and the dense smoke fills the space between us. I notice beads of perspiration on Ralph's temples and between his eyebrows. I feel the weight of my gun in the holster. Feel a light-headed sense of lost reality and a momentary sway of my knees as they want to give out and let me down. Thing is, I decided the only way to stop this particular expense was to go to the source. Of course, Curtis Riley. I love my wife, and if that horse had meant the world to that little girl, I would have sat down with a tick list and we could have maybe come up with a better plan. As it was, she assured me that the horse, that Jimmy Dodge, they were as useful as one another. So you had the horse killed? No, I didn't. No, son. I don't do much of that sort of thing personally. No, I thought it was important for Lizzie to show me that she could wash her hands of an investment when it goes sour. Lizzie had him killed. You're none too bright, are you, Curtis Riley? I drove Lizzie over to her beau's place very early this morning. She walked across the paddock and shot that beast in a way that made me feel real proud. Hell, I almost got a tear in my eye. Sounds like a scene, I say, trying to be cool. Sure was. He pulls the hammer back with a click and lets his thumb slide away to the side. He points the gun at me and has me nicely lined up. I wonder what he's thinking behind those Ray-Bans, and now the smile is back. Now, thing is, Curtis Riley, it is my understanding that you are a professional hitman, that you kill people for money, and you don't much care what you kill them for, or why it might not be such a good idea. I'm 3 steps behind the game plan and the revolver is screaming at me from somewhere beyond my reach, somewhere shut off and somehow unattainable to pull it into the moment. Now, I never killed a man myself, but I admit to being curious, and I don't think I would lose much sleep over killing a man who kills other men for a living, would I now, Curtis Riley? When my knee leaves the room via the door behind me, I'm shocked at the explosion of bone and muscle. The agony won't hit for a few seconds, and I see it laying on the cheap carpet. Particles of bone lay alongside tiny white bits of paper that get stuck in carpets, and I see a paperclip close to a lump of gristle. Ralph is on his feet, moving towards me. I can't hear what he's saying anymore. My eyes are a low fly zone of pure noise. My mind is unable to hang on. When Ralph flies backwards and hits the wall, when he slides down his arm off his calendar, leaving a wash of blood in his wake, when his Ray-Bans slip just far enough that I see the surprise in his dishwater grey eyes, I'm not fully understanding what's just happened. When I see Tommy the asshole, Tommy the loose mouth, stand over Ralph and pump 4 more bullets into him, I realise that sometimes in this life, we just get people all wrong. I'm left with this thought as vomit leaves my mouth and gathers by my ear. The carpet slips into a dreamy shimmer, and I know I need to rest. I'll live. I know I will. But I have some thinking to do.